Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the RapChat podcast. Before we head into the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating and also leave us a review. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at RapChat Podcast, where we post new clips of the show every week. I'm your host, Luke Dick.
I'm Elias Eldridge.
And I'm Sam Kenny.
And I got to give us a nice little round of applause here, just because it's nice to have at least Elias back in person, and
feels good to be back.
Yeah,
back
it's
at
like
the kitchen table.
Sam got the snips, but that's not it by any fault of his own. So
What'd you say you had?
Man, I'm jealous,
snips.
man. I want to be
What's that
back.
mean?
he got the snips, like you got cut.
I'm never coming
If
back.
you're on like a
Oh,
team
I've
or
never
something,
heard
you
that.
got
I think,
the snips.
Don't they call that like when you get your? It's like that's a surgery.
No,
Like-
not vasectomy.
Yeah, that's what they call it. It's like I got snipped. That's
Yeah, but like I've got
the update,
like
guys. Sam
got
got
the
snipped.
Yeah.
So.
Sam got a vasectomy. Just wanted to announce that to
Yeah.
everybody.
Just
Just
so
wanna
you
make
guys
sure everybody
know.
get- yeah,
If he
everybody-
seems a little weird.
Yeah,
today.
that's why I'm not there.
yeah.
He's still in the hospital. Actually.
Yeah, that's why you can't see Sam's lower half.
Yeah, they
of
gotta
the
keep it
camera.
24 hours. So. Fresh off vasectomy,
Yeah.
Sam Kenny.
But
I'll be back next week.
yeah.
Good as new.
So it is nice to be back in person.
nice.
I just love recording in person,
Dude,
man. I really do.
I like not having the delay, dude. 'Cause
Oh,
that was a big part of it. Especially my Wi-Fi wasn't as good. Like Sam's Wi-Fi is better than mine.
Right.
So I always had a delay, and then we ended up talking over each other and all that
Yeah,
stuff. Just
yeah.
so much smoother.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, I hate how you have to have like a decent Wi-Fi connection. Sam's got some pretty blessed Wi-Fi there at his house, so
Yeah,
I'm
man.
not really
It
concerned
works
with
well.
that. But
Meant poopy.
anyways, so I guess we should start rolling. So today's schedule for the podcast is game recaps. We'll be recapping the Jazz game and the Bucks game. And then we've got questions for each other and then looking ahead. So this one might be a little bit short, which is okay because, I think we're all three of us here are in a little bit of a transitionary period.
Yeah,
and,
I'm moving into a whole new place right now.
semester starting right now. This doesn't have to be the longest podcast. You know what I'm saying? We had a great podcast the last, even though they were over like virtual and stuff. We had some
Yeah.
great podcasts
Yeah.
in the
Oh,
past.
yeah.
So even if this one's a
And
little
then maybe at the
fun.
end, if it is too short, Sam could give us a little story about his vasectomy.
Yeah.
At the end.
yeah.
Still time.
That's how it went.
we need 10 minutes. So
yeah. 10 minutes.
Yeah, make sure we save 10 minutes at the end. Just in the bar at the bottom has vasectomy.
Yeah.
Sam's vasectomy on it.
Sam's giving medical advice.
uh,
Okay, so I guess
right.
we can get started. So
Yeah.
I apologize, everybody. I wasn't aware that I had the Jazz game, and that's my fault. I didn't
We know it's your fault.
do my due diligence and look at which game I had, so my bad. But I think maybe we can all sort of give a collaboration on the Jazz game. It was a very interesting game.
Start with this game, though, the Bucks one. The Bucks was first, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, the Bucks was last.
I think
on
because they
Wednesday.
had the same colors, probably. Because I thought the Bucks was
For
second.
some reason, I
also,
could have
for some
sworn that we just played the Bucks.
They played the Jazz because they had that Eric Pascal and
Yeah, but I thought we just. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Because I was at the. Oh yeah, you're right. You are right. Yeah. Because I watched the Jazz game here, and I watched the Bucks game when I was just on my phone when I was out and about doing things.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we'll talk about the Bucks game first.
all right.
And then we'll move on to the Jazz game.
All right. Yeah, so the Bucks and Raptors game, they played, was it Wednesday they played?
Yeah, Wednesday the 5th.
Yeah, Wednesday the 5th. So we got lucky again playing against the Bucks. They didn't have Giannis again due to non-COVID illness. I feel like he's scared to play us.
Dude,
man.
like okay. I don't
he knows
know.
Nick Nurse knows how to guard him. He knows.
Yeah, and
He's scared.
I was actually very disappointed to not see Giannis because they just played the Hornets and Giannis is back and everything. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
I want to
like
play
you had
against
your
them.
whole team pretty much there except for you, dude. Like, what are you not doing showing up, especially for that game? And Toronto and Milwaukee have had a beef, bro. I mean, not like a. I respect
Yeah,
Milwaukee.
There's a little rivalry.
Yeah, rivalry. That's a better term. Rivalry.
Rivalry.
Yeah. Because we beat them, right? In what was it? Eastern Conference semifinals?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
or no,
we-
Eastern Conference Finals. It was the Eastern Conference.
no,
we
Eastern
won
Conference final
that.
isn't that the 76ers?
No, that was
No,
Kawhi
other way
Shaw.
around.
Kawhi Shaw was semifinals. Then we played Bucks finals. And then we went to the Warriors.
Right. And so we beat them in the Eastern Conference Finals, and nothing has really been the same for us especially because us moving to Tampa and all that other stuff. And I don't really know. Have we seen the Bucks this year? Besides
Yeah,
that?
yeah. But to be honest, didn't play both games. Though.
Yeah, and I'm like, Dude, I don't know what Giannis's deal is, man. I don't know why he's not wanting to play against us. I actually low-key, because I knew he wasn't out for COVID. And I was like, why are you out then, bro? Like, you're just sitting out this game? Like,
I said non-COVID illness. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to rest him and not say it. I don't know.
I know. But at the end of the day, it's like, we're the 7th seed. Like, you don't want to play us? Like, aren't they like the third seed?
They're up. It's switching around
or
a lot.
second, yeah.
Yeah, they're out.
First is the
but
Bulls.
there's a real chance we play them in the first round of the playoffs. If things,
that would
who
be
knows
very
what goes on,
interesting.
right?
They don't. He doesn't want.
Right
Nick
now they're
Nurse,
the 4th.
He doesn't want Nick Nurse to game plan for him. So that's what it is.
I think he's scared of Chris Boucher.
Dude,
I
you
do
know
too,
what? I
man.
get it.
Similar play styles.
I would be
you
scared.
know,
I would be scared. I'd be scared.
Similar
of Chris
play
Boucher, too.
styles. Chris Boucher, way better shooter.
Yeah.
Probably more athletic, stronger.
Just all around better.
Honestly, and this is his all-around defense is better than Giannis's too. Yeah, Boucher for All-Star. Okay, let's get into this first quarter. So first quarter, there was no defense played this quarter by any means.
It was tough.
So yeah, some things I saw in the first quarter. Fred and Gary were hot right out of the gate, both making all their shots. They were combined.
It was exciting.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Wait. No, yeah, Gary's making some mid-range shots, but Fred had a nice 3. And Pascal, great game. First quarter, he was being very aggressive, getting to the rim. He was finding a lot of the holes in the defense, and just he has a great great footwork when he's going in the lane. So he knows he can
I think
step
we've seen
through
his
very
footwork
well.
improve just within the season.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Even his spin move looks more clean.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he knows how to step through really well, and he's so lanky too. So he'll just go like this and get through, and he has a nice touch around the rim. So saw a lot of that in the first quarter, which I love to see from Pascal. Another thing I saw this game, after that Nick Nurse rant I had a few weeks ago, the plays have been much better. There's been actual plays happening.
Yeah,
a lot of
noticed
off-ball
that too.
screens.
Yeah.
And I noticed a lot this game too in this first quarter. I mean, a whole game, but I saw the first quarter. Everybody's running constantly. There's always movement.
Yeah.
And that's so great when we have 5 weapons on the floor, especially your starting lineup, right? It's 5
especially
weapons.
when we've had Fred playing the way he has been playing.
Exactly. And then when Gary's hitting shots, which he was this game, and OG had a better shooting night this night.
I gotta say though, one thing I'm not a huge fan of that I've been seeing in the last couple of games, and maybe this is just part of it, but the constant dribble handoffs. Yeah. Like I feel like that it doesn't do a lot. You know what I mean? Like I get it's supposed to move the ball.
It switches the defensiveness. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, when you do it every single time, they adjust, right?
Exactly.
And it's just
But just I love there's so much off-ball movement, which I loved. A lot of just constant passing.
Cutting's been better.
Yeah. And then there's one play midway through the first quarter where it was constant swing, and it led to Pascal stepping into a 3. And that was so beautiful. Because I noticed it right from the start, all the movement. And I was like, and then that led to that.
Wasn't that like a dagger 3 too? It was like boom, boom, like went right down.
Yeah. And then once the Bucks started noticing like, oh, these guys are really moving, they switched to a 2-3 zone. And that kind of knocked us on our ass a bit.
The Jazz did that to us too, did they not? Or no, we switched to a zone.
I think they played a little bit of zone 2.
No, they played a zone 2 at one point, and we had trouble breaking it.
Yes, right, yes.
I think what I noticed from it is that we're so, I don't know how to say it, we're trying to formally beat it. So we're like, okay, they're playing 2-3 zone, so let's get this ball to the middle, and then it's not flowing as much.
Yes.
And that's what zones do, though. The zones try to take away the flowiness of your offense.
And a zone is not necessarily, depends on who you're playing and what the game situation is, but in the NBA, a zone is more meant to throw a wrench into the offense rather than be a sustained form of defense, because once you actually get used to a zone, it's very easy to, and especially for NBA players, to split the zone and totally.
They all know how to do it, and the coaches too, especially. But if you just do it for like a minute, especially when we're flowing, it throws everything off, right? Because you can't do what you're doing. And so something I noticed with OG this whole game, actually, he was real slow on defense. I found he was always late to the closeout. He was slow in the passing lanes, and even just his reaction time. Like he was guarding Middleton quite a bit. Middleton would catch the ball, he would look first and then go run, and then Middleton would just have an open 3. And then a few times with Noor too. And guys are making 3s because of it.
Yeah, right.
And that the Bucks had a crazy first quarter offensively, and it was a lot of like the 3-point shooting. They had how many in the first quarter?
God, it was crazy. It was their role players too.
Yeah, they had 8 first quarter 3s.
Wow.
And a lot of it was their wings, Rodney Hood, Jordan Nwora, and these were guys that OG was guarding, and he was always a step slow. I noticed all night, but especially in the first quarter, and it was pretty frustrating, to be honest. I've never seen OG like that, where his defense was not there. I think it's still just him kind of trying to get back, right?
But
because
we have to remember this is OG's fifth or sixth game back.
Yeah. And he's been out for a while too, so he's got to actually take time. Like it wasn't just COVID; it was an injury. So but then also credit the Bucks; they're just making their shots. So very offensive heavy
and
first
big
quarter.
shot, like tough shots too. Like Drew Holiday had that one sidestep.
Yeah, and then Chris Middleton had one at the end of the quarter too. I think. A tough one. So Bucks just making their shots, and it was so we're down 42-35 after the first.
42 points in a quarter.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like,
eight threes in the quarter is crazy.
And we started the quarter really well, but we didn't really finish the end of the first quarter quite well.
There was just no defense being played. The offense just looked fine.
And the only reason,
yes, Sam?
The only reason it wasn't like a blowout after that quarter was because we were on fire from three.
Yeah, dude, I was just
like
I was literally exactly what I was about to say, Sam. I was like, the only reason why we were able to stay in that quarter was because we were hitting threes, and Gary was I think he had like 2 threes maybe that quarter or something like that.
OG had 2, Fred had 2, Pascal had 1, and Chris had 1.
Exactly, right. And Chris had a corner 3, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was just those were very important to keep us in the game. Like if we wouldn't have been hitting those shots, we would have been in a much different situation.
Yeah, exactly. In the second quarter, the defense gets a little tighter in the second half of it, but the first half, OG's still real slow on defense, dude. And I noticed it a lot with him specifically because he's usually our best perimeter defender, right? So that's kind of why I'm picking him a bit. But it was really like slow and it's sloppy. And Champagny came into the game that quarter, and he is earning his minutes. Man, he had a nice offensive rebound.
Awesome.
And then
two corner threes, I think he hit.
In the game, was that
No,
game?
he had like 4 threes, I think, in the game.
You're thinking of the last game.
Yeah, he didn't have a 3 this game.
Really?
It was was that the Knicks game?
Knicks or Spurs, whatever one it was.
Yeah, I think it was Spurs. It was the Spurs, I think.
Spurs game, yeah.
Champagny had so much hustle out there. He got an offensive rebound, I think, an assist to Fred from that offensive rebound. He's just really earning his minutes, and I really love seeing him play because he has that fire under him, right? That we don't see from Svi as much. Things like these guys look a little too comfortable. Champagny knows the minutes he's playing.
That's true.
Basically, set his life in the NBA. Like if he doesn't play well, then his NBA hopes diminish, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So another thing, Sam mentioned this when he was talking about the Philly game last podcast, or whenever I think it was the last podcast talk with Philly, one before maybe
1 or 2 ago.
When we were playing against, or when we had playing against, we're playing against Philly, but we're not playing against Embiid, but like if we were playing against Embiid, just how much we struggle to guard bigs, and then we were struggling with DeMarcus Cousins. This game.
I know, man.
And,
he was hitting threes on us too, bro.
Yeah, and just he was. I don't know. It was weird he was doing.
It says something when DeMarcus Cousins is torching us, and then literally a day later he gets like
released.
Yeah, released.
I feel bad, but and even down low he was bodying us. It's like that it does scare me a lot. The whole big man thing, because when we play against Giannis in the playoffs or Embiid in the playoffs, even Vucevic is a great offensive player. It definitely scares us because I don't think that'll kill us in the playoffs, right?
The only guy we've really got to be able to handle those guys are Kem and Precious, and
then even then they weren't doing that great. And then also guys like all these guys that can shoot, like Boogie can shoot, also Embiid can play on the perimeter, Vucevic can shoot. Precious and Kem are very good perimeter defenders, right? So they're big men who are interior, but they're smaller big men who are better interior defensively than perimeter. So it's tough.
I mean, the goal is at least to get Precious to a point where he's going to be a good or at least decent perimeter defender. But at this point in our team, development, we're not there.
Yeah. So we go into the half down 9, 77-68. The much better second half. OG right at the start. OG and Pascal both having nice spin moves. And I want to talk about OG's offense because it's been so shaky. But I found these past few games he's been starting to pick it up and feel himself a little more.
Slowly, I've noticed. Yeah,
he's starting to feel himself a little more. The defense still is. Even last game wasn't amazing, but
okay. So one of my things with OG at least that I've seen, and I mean, I give him the benefit of the doubt. He's 24, but see, with Pascal, one thing that we've been seeing, and we saw this with Pascal early in the season, not seeing it as much now, so it definitely gives me hope. But when Pascal is making a move to the basket, he's got this sort of it already planned out in his head. Whereas I feel that OG is hesitant. He's waiting. He's kind of he's thinking too much, you know? And so then he gets down low and allows a defensive defender to gain a position on him, and now he can't spin.
Yeah, and then when you're also thinking like that, you miss passes too.
You miss passes, exactly. I think you mentioned that a podcast ago or something, that OG is like, his guy's open and he's not making the passes, and you know, then he settles for these, you know, kind of fadeaway jump shots, which, you know, he can make.
Oh yeah.
But
there's better shots.
There's better shot selection, man. There really is, especially if you can get to those spots earlier. And if you go in with a forceful spin move or a forceful crossover, I mean, OG's handle needs to improve, I think, too. Like, we're still
It's been improving gradually over every season, though.
Yeah. But still, like, even like, if I would say that Scotty has a better handle than OG, right? And that's something that, like, you know, I feel like we do need to see some better handles from OG, especially when we want him to be able to maneuver to get to those spots, right? Create his own game. I think we need to see the moves happening faster with more aggressiveness, more of assertive decision making.
Yeah.
You know, from OG.
For me, for OG, I'd like to see him. I think this probably also connects to the handle. Just, I want his first sort of priority to be. I mean, well, obviously he's an amazing catch and shoot.
Yeah, he is a very good shooter, yeah.
But I would love to see him, when he has the pick and rolls or the handoffs or the ISOs, try to get downhill first.
Yes.
And then I think that will, because he really wants to get to that pull up or step back game. But I think the step back and the pull up open up, like, those are really important skills to have, but they open up when you have the threat of driving.
Very true.
And I think right now he's really,
it's okay. I'll just cut out.
He's really like almost using
you're super paused.
the.
Oh yeah, okay. Go. You paused
So you
there
said
for a bit.
I think his step back game.
Yeah, that's when we stopped hearing.
Oh yeah. I think he's like using that step back and that pull up almost a bit as like a crutch offensively.
Yeah.
And I think the defenders might be sitting on it, and I would love to see him. Like, he's so quick, he's so athletic. Get downhill. He's shown the ability to make the reads. He's still got to improve quite a bit in that area, but I'm pretty confident that he can. I don't think he's ever going to be the passer that Pascal is at that position, but he's a guy who can make the basic pass, and he's already shown that in his career. But I think he needs to focus more on getting inside. I like the post-ups for him. Sometimes they're a little bit of an adventure, but I mean, then we're saying all this, right? OG, like, I think we've set pretty high standards for him.
We do.
Yeah, we do. Because then he'll score like 26 points, and you're like, damn.
I said all-star.
Well, in the Bucks game, he had 22. Yeah, Bucks game, he had 22 points on 6 of 10 shooting. And then the Jazz game, he had 22 points on 8 of 13.
Yeah, we're just getting nitpicky now. We're just getting nitpicky.
The thing is, though, is I think that one of the reasons why we're having these conversations about OG is because we know he can be that much better, right?
Exactly.
Like, I think OG is the type of guy, like, down the road who could totally give you 30 points, you know, every couple games. You know what I'm saying? Like the way Fred's been playing. I think the OG absolutely has that potential, especially with his shooting ability and his power and strength and pure athleticism. Like I think that the idea is, like, we're watching him, we can see the mistakes, and he's still scoring 25 points a game, right? Like,
it says a lot.
It does, absolutely. And I think he is scoring about 19 points per game. I think it's
19, 20,
yeah. So, which is great. And I mean, obviously he hasn't been back for that long, but he still has been scoring those numbers as of recently. So continue, my sir.
So one more crazy thing. Fred VanVleet had a crazy block this game off the backboard.
That was insane.
Wait, who did he block again? Shit, it was
Sandru Mamashkelashvili.
Right, Mamashkelashvili.
Yeah.
He pinned it against the backboard, dude. First time I've ever seen him do that.
That was crazy, bro. That was crazy.
Maybe that started a defensive charge because Jordan Nwora had this nice dunk at 7:21, and after that was their last field goal of the quarter.
Wow.
That was the Bucks' last field goal.
Bucks scored.
In the second quarter.
Yeah, they didn't score for 7 minutes.
Didn't they go on like a 15-0 run or something like that, or we went on like a?
It was a crazy they didn't score.
Yeah.
They didn't have a field goal for the last 7 minutes 21 seconds of that quarter.
Yeah, that's so crazy. That's so crazy.
Yep. One because our offense, our defense was good. Our offense was still our offense became worse this quarter. We had 6 turnovers just from bad, lazy passes.
Yeah.
It was just kind of sloppy on offense, but obviously they scored 11 points, so we had 24 that quarter, less than you want, but wasn't bad. But the defense was huge, and that's kind of what won us the game, to be honest, because the fourth quarter was pretty back and forth.
Dude, I thought we were gonna lose that game, man. By the end of that, I think one of the only reasons why we won that game was because we had created such a large point differential, and they just didn't have enough time to catch up.
And we had so much energy in that fourth quarter too, which I loved it, man. Scotty's energy was crazy. Gary had a nice shot. He screamed. Just seeing things like that, especially I love seeing Gary scream. He's usually pretty.
And man, Precious Achiuwa's fourth quarter, like plus 11.
Wow.
And he had that 3, like
a 3
in the fourth quarter.
Straight up,
and then he had the nice dunk off of Scotty's lob to him.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was
crazy.
That was a sexy pass.
That was crazy.
Scotty Connaughton doesn't turn around and just scooped it.
That was like one of the nail in the coffin moments when that happened, because I think that did Scotty steal it or something, or
no? I think someone else did, and then Scott passed it up to Scotty.
Yeah, because it was a
Pascal
turnover.
That stole it.
Yeah.
And then Scotty threw it up, and Precious just he flew, man. He was flying.
And you might already have this down, Elias, but I don't know if it was before or after this lob play, but there was a possession where Pascal had it almost like a bit of a post-up in the left short corner, and he whipped it around the defender's back to Scotty, and then Scotty fed him a bounce pass, and he cut for the
that give and go down low. I don't have
that
it down,
was
but that was beautiful.
That was super nice. Yeah.
And I was gonna talk about Scotty a bit, because all game he only scored 6 points, which I've said this before. I won't talk about it too much, but I definitely want to be more aggressive on offense.
I want to have the ball in his hands a little bit more, to be honest.
But he's also being a huge decision maker on offense, and all the guys are trusting to be that decision maker.
And he's conducting, bro. He's conducting the offense.
Yeah.
You see him up there. He holds the ball, and he's like, "Yo,
like,
move here, do this."
Exactly. Which I think is amazing. But I really wish he could be more aggressive offensively.
Like this.
Sam, you frozen right now?
Nope.
Okay, your screen's frozen. We can hear you.
Frozen.
Your screen's frozen. It's fine. So yeah, it got pretty tight near the end of the game here. Fred had some wicked post defensive display on Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday's 6'4" and Fred's 6 feet ish, and he guarded he guarded Drew so well down low, because Drew's a good post player for a point guard, and he made Drew turn it over out of bounds. So. And Fred playing off the ball a lot. With Scotty having the ball in his hands lets Fred play off the ball a lot, which I think because he gets a great catch and shooter, right?
Yeah,
he's thriving as a catch and shooter.
And honestly, like, if they're gonna focus more attention on Fred, it opens more opportunities up for Scotty, because he's such a great creator on offense that he's able to create plays for not only himself but other players, especially guys like Precious. Being able to make those critical passes, being able to get the ball to Gary, being able to get the ball to some really important guys, like whether it's Pascal or somebody else. Because one of the reasons actually why I think we won that Bucks game was because when they were guarding Fred, because they knew they had it out for Fred that game. Yeah. And when they were guarding Fred, Pascal was scoring. Pascal scored 33 points that game, right? Yeah. And that was, I would say, to be honest, if I wouldn't have necessarily known Pascal scored 33 points at the end of that, watching that game.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it didn't really seem like it was a quiet, that's tough to say because it's 33 points, but damn, maybe I should give Sam a quick call back here.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, just before I'll call Sam back and then we'll create a little pause here, transition to the next whatever, that is one of the biggest offensive assets we have as a team, is that when we do have somebody going off, we have the ability to give the ball to other guys and they'll be able to create. Yeah. Sam, I'm just going to give you a call back.
All right.
Okay, yeah, so just some final thoughts from this game. It was just a huge tale of two halves this game.
Yeah.
But our offense has the potential to be, like, lethal, man.
Yeah.
With Fred playing how he is, and if Gary can take that shooter role.
The consistency level just up a bit.
I think it'll get there.
It will.
Because we haven't had this group together for very long. But I'm talking about this starting five. If this starting five rest of the year, if we don't start Kem or whatever, which actually I don't mind because we're bringing Kem in 5 minutes in, right?
Yeah, we're doing that weird Scotty switch. And that's the whole Nick Nurse thing I think maybe you were going to talk about there.
Yeah. it's really I'm not against it.
It is very creative. I will have to give him that.
Yeah. But our offense with these 5 guys on the floor, and even when Kem comes in, can be absolutely lethal because Fred is playing how he's playing, and then if Gary can take on just that shooter role where he's our shooter, OG and Pascal being able to score when they're not at will, they're not there yet, but being able to score how well they can score. And then Scotty just being a decision maker because he's so smart, right? He's still so young. So once that develops, it can be something. I think our offense could be really good.
Oh, yeah. Well, we saw, I think the best. Sorry. Go ahead, Sam.
Well, I was just going to add one more thing, like just more so just this game. But I love that we can have a dynamic where the last few games leading up to this Bucks game, Fred VanVleet was the main guy, the main option. But like in this one, Fred had a good game, but Pascal really had it going. The Bucks had no answer for him. And like whether it was the mid range, whether it was down low, the playmaking
on the 3.
And I love that we can just go, 2 threes, and I love it. We can just go, all right, Pascal, you're the number 1 option tonight. Like, Fred, you can play off of him. Then when Fred has it going, Pascal can play off of him.
Yeah.
And I think there's such a good dynamic. Like I think the starting 5 on offense, and like the starting like their skill sets, right?
They're
like
very
you would think
different.
A guy like Pascal, Scotty, and OG, maybe they don't fit well because they're all the same size, but they all just have such a good feel for the game that they can flow within each other, right? They know how to take a back seat. It's such a good dynamic right now. Like the offense, like the fact that the Bucks scored 77 points in the first half
and 37
and then we had
in the second.
Wow.
And then but then like we didn't die from that first half where our defense was awful because our offense was amazing.
Yeah.
And then when our offense struggled a bit in the or in the last 2 quarters, our defense picked up.
Yeah.
So I think that's just such a good sign for a team. Like you obviously want consistency on both ends, but to have 2 kind of different identities like that is really important.
Yeah, definitely.
And we have such a variety when it comes to skill set.
Yeah.
You know, like we just have a very diverse team. And I think that's one of the things actually that you know that the Raptors have gone for in years past, and one of the things that is a fundamental sort of way to build this team is variety of players, right? Because although you might have guys who have similar looks to them, they play differently, right? And like I would say OG, much more of a shooter than Pascal, right? And so they do offer something different, whereas I feel like a lot of teams, right, their 2s and 3 guards tend to be both quite similar, their 1s tend to be all quite similar, right? They have similar carbon copy people of who they want in these positions. Whereas the Raptors, we just design our team.
We just put 5 guys together that can gel together. That can all play together properly. You know what I mean?
Totally.
There was no butting heads or no butting roles and things like that.
And that's one of the whole ideas. The whole butting roles is that everybody does offer something a little bit different, even if they all have a similar sort of
like
look.
if one's not scoring, they can still provide other things.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then I was gonna talk about the bench a bit, but we can talk about that later because Sam's got something for us there.
Yeah, that'll work well on mine, I think.
Yeah. So some final stats in this game: Pascal 33 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals. Gary 22 points, 5 rebounds. OG 22.6 rebounds, and Fred breaking that 30-point streak, 19 points, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a sexy backboard block.
No cap.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Jazz game?
So
we'll go on the Jazz game.
Do you want me to lead it, or do you want to lead it, Luke?
I mean, you'll probably have a better recollection of it than me. It seems like I'm kind of all over the place here, but we'll
bounce off each other.
Yeah.
All right, so the Raptors played the Jazz on Friday night. The Jazz were basically missing everyone for this one. This was their inactive list. Bojan Bogdanovic, Mike Conley, Rudy Gay, Rudy Gobert, Joe Ingles, and Donovan Mitchell, and Jordan Clarkson didn't play either.
AKA their 7 best players.
Yeah, literally the Utah
team.
Jazz. This was actually probably the worst collection of players I've ever seen on an NBA floor. Like, I'm not lying. This was worse than the Raptors team against Cleveland, I think.
Did you see those Lakers starting lineups back in, like, 2013? It was, like, Wayne Ellington, Jeremy Lin, Tariq Black, Robert Sacre.
Jeremy Lin right now might have been the best player on the court for this Utah team.
Come on now.
What's his name? Hughes.
Pascal. Oh, Elijah Hughes.
Elijah Hughes, dude, he was...
Oh,
he was doing whatever he wanted out there, man.
7 for 12 from 3.
8 rebounds too.
Oh my!
And 4 assists and 2 steals.
But let's be real here too. Is that one of the things I think that we can say about this Jazz game is that was a very freak showing, not consistent.
Yes.
If you put those guys out there for a consistent amount of time in the league, that's not going to happen every game. That was, I would say that, I mean, I don't like saying things are flukes because these guys are that talented, but let's be real. There's a
reason why these guys aren't NBA players.
Exactly. Yeah. That game, I can say there was a lot of flukes during that. Was our defense bad?
Yeah.
Yes. It was fucking garbage. But with garbage defense, it opens up areas for opportunities for young guys like these to come out and play. And
that's when you got to give credit to Quinn Snyder too, because it's. I think Matt Devin might have said this also, but it shows that Utah has this way they play that works so well, and then you can just put new players in, and they still play the exact same way. And that's also how they're built, because like their 3 centers are all the exact same build: Rudy Gobert, Hassan Whiteside, and Udoka Azubuike. They're all rim protectors. They're all like defensive anchor types who can just dunk. That's how they score. They dunk, right? So they just the way they're built, and then it's from that. There's no like traditional power forward. It's just a bunch of wings, with a few guards, right?
Right.
So they have that. They have that build all the way through their roster, so they can still play the exact same way no matter who's on the floor, as long as they have one of those centers in. So that's kind of what they were doing, and I got to give props to Quinn Snyder for.
Yeah, honestly, if I was him, I wouldn't have been disappointed with the way that game went.
God,
absolutely not.
You know, it was for them, that was a very winnable game, you know, and
the fact, like, I'm sure Quinn Snyder knew that he wasn't gonna. In the back of his mind, he's like, we're probably not gonna win this game, right? Yeah. So the fact that they scored 40 points in the first quarter, even more, is more crazy, and held us to 25. That's huge for them, those young guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything really like the first half. There was just no energy. I don't think there's really anything to say. There was like just amazing like shooting variance for the Jazz. They were shooting and
Eric Pascal and Elijah Hughes. Shout out to y'all.
They were 10 for 22 from 3 in the first half. We were 5 for 26.
Yeah, we could not shoot.
And 2 of those threes came from Pascal Siakam, a guy who isn't really going to hit threes that much.
Yeah.
And Gary was struggling.
And Malik Fitz had a half-court shot, too.
Yeah, that was
for the cherry on top.
I was so fucking pissed.
I was like,
me too. And I was like, at the end, I was like, oh, man, there's no way that counts. And then then they like replayed it. I'm like, you know what, man? Honestly, fitting. Fitting. Like, I'm not really
Malik Fitzing.
Yeah. Like, I can't say I'm extremely surprised that happened to us. I'm like, and I texted you guys too. I'm like, this is probably the worst. Like, at least in terms of halves, that's probably the worst half I've ever seen us play.
So.
I think that's the worst half of Raptors basketball I've ever seen us play.
Like Sam said, there's nothing we can really talk about the first half. Nothing good came out of it.
You know, and the fact that we still won this game was
by 14 too.
Yeah, was quite surprising to me, to be honest, because if we had a second half that was even similar to the first half, we would have got destroyed.
But there's a reason we won.
The reason we won was number 23 on the Raptors,
Michael Jordan, Fred VanVleet.
Went on a personal 17-0 run at one point with I think 3 steals. He had 24 points on 8 of 8 shooting in the fourth quarter, capped off by a logo 3.
He was pissed, dude. Fred was pissed.
Man, it was like a Kyle Lowry type thing, right? Where he just went, all right, we're not losing. It reminded me of the Lowry performance against the Dallas Mavericks when we came back from 30 points.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I saw, right? He was getting to the rim, mid-range, 3-pointers, defense.
Yeah.
He was possessed. It was crazy. I've never seen... That was one of the best stretches I've ever seen from an NBA player. Yeah. Personally watching. Yeah, it was crazy.
Totally. Yeah. It really solidified in my mind that Fred is that guy.
Yeah.
Fred is absolutely that guy. And I think that we've had a lot of conversations about Fred on this podcast about whether or not what kind of role he does fill. We know he can do it himself, but can he do it for the team? And can he be that guy that everybody counts on? And I think on court, he has a very different demeanor than Kyle. Very different demeanor. He just doesn't.
Kyle is so elaborate.
Yes. Kyle's very animated.
Yeah. Where Fred's just steady.
But Fred he talks to the refs and he when he wants to take the game into his own hands, he absolutely does. And I think that You know, it'd be interesting to actually see them in practice and see what kind of leadership Fred has, because you can see it on court in the way that they play, but you don't know what their conversations
there's
are
so
like.
much that goes on behind the scenes we don't know.
Exactly, and I would love to know, you know, how that team dynamic works and get a chance to see how Fred motivates these guys. I mean, you hear it a lot from Matt and Jack, and you hear it a lot from you know, them saying about Nick, and you hear from Nick too, like in post game interviews and stuff, and you hear from other teammates in their interviews as well. And you know, like, you can't deny that Fred is that motivating force and factor. We just don't necessarily get to see that as fans. We just hear about it. So when we watch the games and we see Fred do something like this, it really, I think, in my mind, reminds me that, like, Fred wants to see us win. Like, he really has faith in this team. You know, he likes the team. He knows that there's a talented group of guys, and if he wants to win this game and take it into his own hands, sometimes that's what he's got to do.
Yeah. So this is. Sorry.
I think another thing, like, Fred, like, he played all 12 minutes that quarter, and you could tell he was just exhausted.
Yeah.
And then to come out with the and I was a little bit. Oh man, I'll get to Chris. I got some praise for Chris later on here. In that fourth quarter, though, it was Pascal and Gary that really. Fred was on the bench. Like, you couldn't have expected him to come back out there and kept going crazy, right? Because he's obviously exhausted. And Pascal and Gary Trent has good defense. Just Pascal got down low for some looks. Gary hit 2 catch and shoot threes. Just a lot of that really, I think, saved it. And the defense looked awesome for that stretch as well.
This just shows our dynamic, because in the third quarter it was Fred, and OG had a really good quarter too. In the third quarter, and then fourth quarter is Pascal and Gary, right? So we have all these guys who can take over, right? I think that's something that's really a lot of teams don't have this many potential weapons on their team, right?
Yes.
And I think it puts the defense in scrambles too, because it's like, okay, we'll double Fred. Then it's like, okay, well now OG's open.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll put more on OG. Okay, well now Gary's open.
And now Pascal is getting to the rim every single time.
Yeah, exactly.
And
then he gets guys like Scotty who can see cuts left and right, right?
Exactly. And if he wants it, he can take it himself.
Exactly.
I think one thing we've seen even from Scotty from that game too is just like constant running the floor. Constant, man. Like, if he sees that the defense isn't set, he'll go.
Yep.
He'll go and he'll score or he'll get fouled.
Yeah.
And another thing I also want to say is I think Pascal finished that game with only like 2 fouls or 3 fouls. We really haven't been getting into a whole lot of foul trouble, right? And over the past couple games, and you know, I think that's a problem for a lot of teams. Eric Pascal got into foul trouble early in this game as one of the reasons why they couldn't, you know, sustain playing him a super long time, because I think it was in the second quarter he got up to 3 fouls, and that's what happens when you have a depleted team, right? And that's, I think, a problem that a lot of teams have is, you know, since they don't have enough weapons on the team, or they might not have as diverse weapons as we do, they depend on these guys, and so when they end up fouling. You know, whether it's, you know, 3 fouls, you know, early in the game, even sometimes 4, or late down the stretch when they've got 5, you know, or 4 or 5 fouls, like they play differently. You can't be as aggressive. Whereas we have such a, you know, diverse team where we can spread those fouls out, right? Like those, you know, you might not see one guy get, I mean, here and there, a game here and there, you might see one guy get like 4 or 5 fouls, but generally what we see, I think we've been seeing with the Raptors, is you get 2 fouls, 3 fouls, 1 foul, 1 foul, 2 fouls, you know, like across the whole board, whereas we're kind of spreading that out, and, you know, sort of distributing those aggressive plays, which allows freedom for a lot of other players, right? And since we can put the ball in anybody's hands and be confident that that they can score and do something productive out on the court, you know, we have that chance and opportunity to let guys, you know, play more aggressive and play more to their strengths.
And I'll give his praise now. Chris Boucher, man, it's been like 2 weeks, and he was the only guy I thought in the first half that was like, he really went in and tried to get the energy going. And then in that second half, man, like, his stat line is whatever, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. Every single offensive rebound chance, he was like full on running after it. And then he was stopping. The Jazz didn't have the offensive skill to run good half-court offense. And I think in that second half, and especially in the beginning of that fourth quarter, Chris Boucher was pressuring the guy who got the defensive rebound every single time. And the Jazz actually had to set up, wasted time off the clock, and then basically the Jazz's C team against a set Raptors defense, that is like a great situation for the Raptors to be in. And I thought Chris Boucher, man, like there was that picture of him like totally just exhausted on the bench after his stretch in the fourth quarter. And like we've asked him, right, to like buy in to his role, and he has done exactly what you could have wanted from him and more. Like he's been our best bench player for like a good 2 weeks now, I think.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
True. And I mean, I do miss Utah, but but with Chris, you know, I hate to say this. I hate to say this, and I kind of don't mind saying it, but it makes me hesitant on trading him because he's just been with the team for so long, and to incorporate somebody brand new, like I get, if we're going to trade someone, they've got to be younger, right? We're going to make it a package deal or something so that we get a younger person. But I don't know, like it really depends on like what we're trying to do here with this playoff run. Like we can trade Chris in the off season, right? Like do we need to trade him
now?
He's
a free agent. Well, yeah, he's a free agent. That's the one thing, right? Yeah, so do you trade him while he's got time left on his contract?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we're going to retain him in the offseason. I don't know what his contract will look like.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens,
that's a weird one. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But
dang,
I mean, I'm with you though, Luke. When I was getting my question set up for today, I was having trouble including Chris in some of my mock trades. Like, he's been awesome. Like, tell me if I'm crazy for saying this, but we're not we don't have to rehash this debate. But we were talking about Gary going to the bench a couple podcasts ago, and we kind of said it like as if like Kem would start in place of him. What about Gary going to the bench for Chris? Because I think he plays really well with the starting lineup.
I mean, I think we've seen a lot of different lineups from Nick, and if I were to see that starting lineup, I can't tell you that I would be disappointed.
The reason I don't like it is because he brings so much energy, right? And I think that's something you want off the bench. So, and I think
he's very used to coming off the bench.
As good as Chris has been, he gets a big head, right? And I'm kind of worried that getting promoted to the starting lineup, he'll be like, oh, now I'm one of these guys, right?
Whereas like that's not what you're here for.
I think I like him coming off the bench and bringing that spark.
Yeah.
So I like him off the bench because I think with Kem, the reason I want to start, I mean, I like what we're doing now. So if we don't start Kem, cool. But if we were to someone else, I'd want to start Kem because he kind of fits the mold with that starting lineup, right? He fits that fifth option type. And he doesn't necessarily.
He's our closest guy we have to a traditional center.
Yeah, exactly. So with Chris, I'd rather if it's between those two, I'd rather keep Gary starting. To be honest.
Yep. I mean, I think I would in the end as well, but it is. I do like the chemistry he has with some of the main guys
for sure.
Well, and you know, like if I saw him in a starting lineup, I wouldn't be like, oh my god, you know what I mean? They put Chris in the starting lineup. I would be
surprised if they put Gary off the bench for Chris. That'd be interesting.
Just to try, you know what I'm saying? Like we were so used to seeing Nick Nurse do tons of different lineups and tons of different things, and I think that the guys are used to that too, right? If Nick says something and he wants it done that way, he obviously is trying it for a reason. You know what I mean? I think the guys can trust Nick and know that. You know, if Nick wants to try a weird lineup or something like that, the guys aren't going to be like. For example, I think that we've seen lineups that Nick has made so far this year that we've never seen ever since then. You know what I mean? So I don't think the guys. I mean, maybe it would go to Chris's head, but I don't think necessarily the guys would think that every lineup that they have is permanent, you know? Right, so even to just try starting Chris to see what happens, I think Nick would be open to that idea, you know? And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does happen, who knows how many games it would happen for, right? It could just be something to try. Yeah. But I do agree with what you said, though. I like him. I do like him off the bench for that energy reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I got from that one, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Vanvleet, first career triple-double.
I don't know if we said this. Fred's stat line in the third quarter, I just want to say it. 24 points, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block, 8 for 8 from the field, 3 for 3 from 3, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, plus 15. Crazy.
Unbelievable. And like Sam, you just said, but we should give it its own little thing. First career triple-double for Fred VanVleet, so...
With his 2 final ones were both lobs to Precious too.
Yeah, that's a risky guy to pass to in the paint. Man.
I know. Yeah. I was the whole time. I was like, watch Fred not get his triple double because Precious missed the layup.
Well, and the assist that gave him the triple double was a lob to Precious, and he fucking just slammed. I was like, "There's no way that was the assist that got him this triple double." Like that's so perfect. Oh, it's so perfect. It's fitting. It's so you couldn't have.
I wanted it to be to Pascal. Yeah. I wanted Pascal to finish it.
Honestly, I wasn't even like concerned
for a while
with who did it. I was just like, as long as it's like dope, you know what I mean? As long as it's good, like as long as it's like a sick play.
I want him to keep him in so he can get 40 points also.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
I think he was just like exhausted by the end.
What is that? Oh, he was too tired.
Yeah. I think he was just dead.
Yeah, I think he appreciated the little rest there at the end. All right, want to get into these questions?
Sure.
I want to save yours for last, Sam, because I think that's a nice one to talk about for a bit. I can go first. My question to you guys is, what to you guys has been the key to the Raptors' recent success? Let's hear it.
That is a loaded question.
If you had to pinpoint one big thing that you've seen different.
I think offense. I mean, well, the obvious one is that everyone's healthy.
Yeah.
But my other one would be, I think the offense is just really clicking, and I think it's because there is a bit of a. It's not perfect yet, but there almost is like an established hierarchy in the offense. Like I think Fred has kind of shown that more often than not he's the guy, and then it's Pascal, and then OG, Scotty, and Gary fill in behind that. And I think that's really translated to. I mean, the offense has actually looked good for a long, like basically since Pascal came back from injury. But like it's really clicking now. Like guys just know where to be. You have 3 like elite shooters in that lineup, and then playmaking. Like it's just that starting lineup's offense it's like, how do you guard a lot of that stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
I think one of the biggest things for me has been overall intensity. You know what I think? I think we're finishing games. You know what I mean? We may not have the best start to games, but we're really finishing them. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of guys are tired, and a lot of guys have had we've had a rough season. I mean, Fred said that if there was one thing that was going to be consistent this season is that things are not going to be consistent, right? And especially with the capacity limits at the Scotiabank Arena and them removing all the fans, out of nowhere, and all the other teams have got their fans, and Toronto's got one of the best, if not the best fan base in the NBA, and it's tough. It's tough, right? And I think that we've been able to see a lot of resilience from the guys. I think one of the, honestly, if I have to say, I don't even think it's anything performance specific. I think it's just attitude. I think our attitude has really contributed to us winning these games, because when we are able to motivate ourselves and understand that we are a good team, we do have the potential to make it there. And the only thing that's really in our way is ourselves. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're our biggest roadblock. And once we can get over that, we can become a very strong team. And that's one thing I think I've seen is just the attitude and the intensity for me, I think, is brought to a whole new level, especially since OG's been back. And I think the guys seem really excited, and everybody seems like really pumped up, especially Scotty too.
Yeah. Just to talk about our offense again for a second. The Raptors are currently 9th in offensive rating in the league right now, and that is ahead of the Golden State Warriors, the 76ers, the Brooklyn Nets, the Cavs, etc. And we are only 0.2 behind the Phoenix Suns.
Wow.
So our offense has been insanely good. That's how many points you score per game.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Oh,
per 100 possessions. Per 100 possessions.
Yeah. So our offense is clicking on all cylinders right now.
Damn. And that goes to show that it couldn't have been that bad before.
No, I mean the first few games without Pascal and stuff like that, it was pretty rough. But I mean, like Sam said, ever since Pascal came back from injury, and especially just recently with everybody, it's looking very good. Yeah. And they haven't even gelled yet. Like they don't have proper chemistry.
Okay, how long do you guys think it takes to really get a good gel?
I think it's relative, but
I'll say for this Raptors team.
Sure. I think because a lot of them have already, like OG, Fred, and Pascal have been together forever. So I think they're probably relatively gelled already.
But they have to work in new guys too, right?
So I think Gary's role is pretty minimal. When it comes he's just you give him he'll shoot, right?
Yeah, right.
So he hasn't asked for too much. And then Scotty's just a distributor, more or less on the offense right now.
So
I don't
crazy
thi- I
how
don't
we
think
have a
it'll-
rookie that's just like
I know he's like.
such a critical part of our team.
I don't think it'll take too long. I think like they're probably pretty close there, to be honest. But I'd say like another week or so. But yeah.
In terms of games, how many games do you think it really takes?
Yeah,
for
I'll
us?
say like 8 more games. I don't know, like something around there. I think
Okay.
we look really good right now, but I think it'll just. I mean, yeah, I'd say maybe 8 to 10 more games.
Yeah.
I think you'll see this team really meshing.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting answer too, because I gotta say, judging on the first half of both the Jazz and the Milwaukee game, I would have thought we would lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's crazy that we came back and won both those games. I think our finishing to these games have been great. Starting needs to be a little bit better. I think we need to pick it up on defense like quite a bit. But yeah, I think you guys are right. Like I think, give it that, 8 to 10 game stretch with this really healthy crew. Crowd or not, I think that we've got the potential to really see a totally different team, by the end. I remember one thing I just can't get out of my head, and I really hope we can see this again this season. But I remember at the beginning of the season when everyone was kind of healthy, we would just see so many possessions where I've never seen this. I've never in the time that I've been watching basketball, I don't think I've ever really seen it quite like this. But other teams would come down and we would just constantly steal the ball, turnover, constantly. It's just like you watch and it just everything forces this. It's a weird wave of forcefulness on defense that we have to just get this. And we know we have the defensive potential. I think we can talk about this right now. I mean, we've almost at 20 episodes. The first couple episodes, we were like, man, we're going to have no half-court offense this season. Like, this season is strictly defensive. And now we're sitting here like, our defense is
It's backwards.
like, our offense is what's carrying us through these games. And like you said, we're rated, ninth or something?
right
In the
now.
entire league?
Yeah.
That's so ridiculous.
And really close to
That's
Phoenix.
that's so crazy to me, man.
Yeah.
It's so flipped from what I thought it would have been.
You thought bottom 5, isn't that what you thought?
Yeah.
That's what you thought, right?
Top 5
Yeah, I thought
defense.
bottom 5.
I thought top 5. I thought top 5 defense,
Yeah.
bottom 5 offense.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I thought the same thing.
What
I
is our
thought
defensive
bottom 5
rating?
out of 10. We're in the middle of the league right
19. I think we're
now.
19
19th
right
now.
now.
Oh, yeah, we're 19th now.
Yeah.
But that's fluctuating quite a bit. Same with the offense, too. Like,
Yeah.
we could be,
That
we
is
could
like
drop a
kinda
few spots or raise a few spots tomorrow. Actually, probably raise because we're playing New Orleans and their defense is not good. Okay, Luke, want to get into your question?
Yes. So the question that I had for you guys was, how do you guys feel about the way that these last couple wins have been achieved? I wanted to just get an idea of your overall feeling for how well these games represent us going in the future, because I think there's out of these last 2 games, I think out of any other games that we've had in the season, there is a lot of positives and there's a lot of negatives, even though we won. And I just kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts on how well you think these 2 games sort of are going to,
The trend.
exactly, trend in for the future.
So you want to go first? I'm going to go first.
I'll go ahead, I guess. I guess I will be a little bit hesitant just because we played some really bad competition these last, on this win streak. The best team we played was the Bucks without Giannis, and then just the Knicks without Randall and some other rotation pieces, the Spurs without DeJounte Murray and Lonnie Walker, the Jazz without anyone.
Yeah.
Just a lot of games, right, but I mean, not to take away though, I think our processes in these games, like you have to win these games, right? Good teams win the games they're supposed to win, and that's what the Raptors are doing. We've seen them play down to their competition, and for the most part, we haven't done that. I think the offense, I'm the most confident I've ever been about it. But yeah, the defense, I still have real questions about the scheme, and just like there's so many open threes again, right, against Milwaukee and Utah, and I just think this team still struggles to defend the 3-point line. I don't like how we're still flying out on shooters and just letting them set up again and take an open 3. But I do think, like, future-wise, I couldn't be more, like, every piece of, if you're like the young core, however you want to call it, have looked like I've shown stuff to be super happy about them in the future. So in that case, I think it's been a really awesome 5-game stretch.
Yeah, my thoughts same as Sam. I mean, still haven't played amazing competition, but like he said, we win games supposed to win, and in the past we lost to Detroit, we lost to OKC, et cetera, et cetera. I think it also just shows, like, I think the weaker first half, we've had a lot of weak first halves recently, like you mentioned. I think that shows that we're still gelling, right? That shows that we're not there yet. But no, I think the fact that we're doing this right now, it gets me really excited because I'm thinking we're doing this now. What happens 10 games from now when we are fully gelled, assuming no one gets hurt or COVID? I think the more we gel, the better we get, obviously. And I just think that what we have, plus with Nick Nurse's coaching, I think we can do something really special, kind of like a Utah type thing, right? Where Utah does, I mean, they have Gobert and Mitchell, who are their two best players, and you can call them superstars, sure, but they're not like the LeBron James, the Kawhi Leonards, you know what I mean? They just have a really solid foundation where a lot of guys do what they're supposed to do on the team. No egos, no butting heads. I think that's the same type of thing we can have with this team, because Fred can be that Donovan Mitchell, right? That kind of thing. And I just think that, the more we gel, the more guys will learn their roles, and everybody will just know what's going on. And I think we'll be better down the stretch. But yeah, right now I think what we're doing for the amount we gelled so far is really, really crazy. Because we barely played together. We're doing 5-game winning streaks. So.
Well, and another thing too that I was thinking about, I'm like, when the Jazz hit all those threes against us, I'm like, okay, that's not going to be, that's a fluke for this Jazz team. Mm-hmm. But there are teams out there, like the Golden State Warriors, who will hit that same amount of threes against us, right? And it's our job to be able to shut it down. I think one of the and be able to come back from that, right? Yeah. And there were a lot of guys that game who were played well all game, right, on the Jazz. Like they just did. And I think that if we can stop, I struggle to say that Jazz game was just because of just how many threes they hit. You know what I mean? Although that team couldn't do that on a consistent basis, there are teams in the NBA who can, right? And
Utah, like fully healthy, can still do that.
Exactly. And so, it is important that we can win those games when teams are hitting those shots, right? Like the Nets can hit those shots. The Bucks can hit those shots. I mean, the Suns can hit those shots. The Warriors can hit. I almost said the Lakers. I'm like, no.
Miami.
Just kidding.
But yeah, no, that's a good point. Okay, Sam.
All right, want to get to mine?
Yeah.
All right, my question is a different one. I think we've seen right over the last, I guess, all season, the problem still, especially if the Raptors want to make some sort of playoff competitive run or series. The bench is the main issue. We're not really getting a ton from the bench. We're getting some energy, but there's still real questions there. So I've got 4 trades here that are relatively minor. Some of them deal with maybe a bit more of a future outlook. Some of them could help right now. And they're not involving any of the core guys, but just a few small trades to see what you guys think. All right, first one is the Raptors receive Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, and Torrey Craig from the Pacers. And Indiana receives Malachi Flynn, Goran Dragic, Svi, and then I threw in a second-round pick. So basically the deal here is Lamb and Dragic are both on expiring. It's basically Indiana gets a young guard in Malachi, and the Raptors get Justin Holiday and Torrey Craig, who are both on 2-year deals as 2 bench pieces.
That's quite the bench swap.
Yeah, these are all made on the trade machine, so the salaries have to match. But I was go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'd rather have Holiday, Lamb, and Craig than Svi, Dragic, and Flynn, to be honest with you. Especially if we're trying to make a playoff run. I think it makes sense for both sides. Where realistically, Flynn's not going to be in our future. Dragic is not in our. sorry, man. That's life. Dragic's not in our present, and
this guy's not even close to the present. He's in Miami. How funny is that? He literally is a video of him working out in the Miami Heat gym.
I think. I think it makes sense. I don't know if you don't usually see big bench swaps like that. You see like 1-for-1s or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that'll be something that would happen, but I mean, yeah, like I definitely Justin Holiday's a great shooter. Craig's an enforcer, brings energy, and then Lamb can be our 9th man for the playoff run, then we'll drop him.
My thing was Lamb is basically just in there like Rodney Hood was last year
exactly.
as trade, and same with Svi and Dragic, right? They're just in to make the money work.
Yeah.
Because I think Indiana's going into a bit of a full rebuild, but I think Justin Holiday is the one piece
That'd be huge.
I liked in there, right? Because 3-and-D guy off the bench kind of just fit.
Which we need. We don't really have wings off the bench like that.
Not really. Like Utah's our one.
This brings in 3 wings. So it might be a little crowded, but I mean, hey, like I mean, better to have more than less, right? I think Indiana could really use Malachi Flynn as part of the start of their rebuild. Just have a promising young point guard, you know.
Malachi Flynn is going to be a theme in a lot of these trades.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this next one, Luke is really going to hate. I'm sorry in advance, Luke. All right, the Raptors receive Jalen Smith from the Phoenix Suns, and Phoenix receives Malachi Flynn and Yuta Watanabe.
Luke becomes a Phoenix Suns.
I'm sorry.
And I'm quitting, man. I'm shutting this shit down right now.
Welcome to the Suns Cast podcast. The Sun Chat podcast.
Sun Chip.
What did I say?
That's all.
No,
you said Sun.
I said Suncast.
Suncast. That's actually kind of nice.
Suncast.
Oh,
Suncast. I just thought Sun Chip. I was like,
one of the Sun Chip podcasts.
Well, I mean, like Sun Chip, like it's a chip, like you win the championship, right? The chip.
Oh, true. Oh, that's a good
Sun
good
Chip
name for when the Suns win this.
Yeah,
year.
if the Suns win, it only works if the Suns win, but like. And you just have one episode, and it's like, guys, the Suns won. This is the Sun Chip podcast.
Wait, hold on. So it's Flynn and Watanabe for Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith's been balling past few games.
Man, he has, and they're gonna trade him, I think, right? Because they didn't pick up his option.
Oh, they have to at this point. I mean, his value is even higher now too. I mean, I feel like they can get more than Flynn and Watanabe for Jalen Smith, to be honest.
That's what I thought too, but that was. Yeah. I mean, maybe you throw a pick in there of some sort. But I just don't know. He doesn't have any. Like, he's going to be a free agent, right?
Yeah, I would take Smith to be our Boucher replacement for sure.
Yeah.
So we retain him in the offseason and let Boucher go. Because he's a great 3-and-D big man, right? And I think he was perfectly with our team. So I definitely want Jalen Smith. Again, Flynn. Not in our future. So
part of me wishes we had somebody who works in the office that's just like, tell us what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Tell us what's going on.
Have you seen it?
We need to know.
There was this one time where Jeff Weltman, the GM of the Magic, former GM of the Raptors.
Oh yeah.
There was the big whiteboard with all the trade scenarios, and there's like 25 trade targets they're looking for, and they got leaked. So there's like all over Twitter the Orlando Magic.
I do remember that. Yeah.
So there's like one's like Aaron Gordon for Dario Saric, Swab, this one like years ago and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, that's crazy that this got leaked.
Oh man, that's
I would love. I mean, you'll miss Utah, but I mean, realistically, I think we're winning. He'd
be fun in Phoenix.
He would. He would fit them perfectly.
Yeah.
I think that's good for both. Like I don't think we're losing much from that trade, especially because we're still a young team, right? Like we still have the least amount of games played in the NBA, right? That didn't change.
Yeah, and you're only getting younger with that trade.
Exactly.
And if I think about it, like, would I get a Yuta Watanabe jersey from the Raptors and the Suns?
That's going to cost you more money.
That would be pretty cool.
That's more expensive, so I'll just say no.
Well, hey, the Watanabe jersey for the Raptors and the Suns would be pretty sick.
That would be sick.
Like, seeing Watanabe on... It's such a cool last name, too. On
both
a
sides
Raptors
of the
jersey. And a Suns jersey, that'd be pretty sick.
And it's a Kanye bar. Utah Watanabe Yama.
Isn't it?
It's Junyo.
Junyo, yeah.
But I just like saying Utah.
It's like Jun.
This one's Elias is gonna like, I think. All right, the Raptors receive Lonnie Walker and a second-round pick, and the second-round pick, I don't even know if you have to put it in or not. San Antonio though receives Delano Banton and Kem Birch.
San Antonio, hold on. Lonnie plus second for
Delano and
Banton.
Delano and Kem.
Yeah. The reason I bring this up is I think the Spurs have too many young wing/guards. They're going to have to trade one of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Walker is the easiest one to get. I think from a Raptor standpoint, he fits what we do in terms of Like he can kind of be like an off the bench Gary Trent Jr. with some shot creation, way more athletic, but some 3-and-D shot creation, can fill in the starting lineup, can just do a lot of stuff. And then the Raptors, I don't think Kem Birch is all that valuable of a piece. I think any team would want him. But I think the real piece here is Delano, obviously. And the fact that the Raptors have shown a propensity to maybe go towards less traditional point guard play might be a sign that maybe they'd value a guy like Walker who can score rather than a guy like Banton who is just kind of a playmaker.
At this point, Sam.
I think it's really tough because Delano's so new to the league. I
know, man. And like he just has so much to work with, so much potential.
Also, I don't know if the Spurs do that trade, to be honest, because I mean
they might not.
The Spurs are getting Delano Banton, but I mean they're losing a better young player right now. Yeah. So it's just you're getting younger, but you're also like the talent level between Delano and Lonnie is pretty significant right now. Yeah, I don't know if the Spurs do that. I mean, I don't even know. Because I do think Lonnie fits us very well, especially like you said with the lack of traditional point guard play, which has been working really well. If we keep doing that, then Delano won't. We also could be doing that because Delano is not really there yet. So I kind of want to keep Delano another year and just see what he can do over the offseason and see what happens with that.
Well, just the amount of improvement we saw, but like I don't like saying this all the time, but any for listeners who haven't heard us say this in the past, he was expected to be a G League guy all year. You know what I mean? And he actually contributed in a lot of games this year. I mean,
he's had spurts of great play.
And it's just crazy to see that he's on the roster and he still gets subbed in for some of these games. I mean, I think one of the reasons why we're seeing less of Delano is because we're seeing a healthier team for us and we need to get these guys gelling. So we obviously can't give any time to Delano or guys like Malachi even. So, but I would love to see what happens with Delano. I think he knows he needs to develop a shot. He has to develop either a mid-range, like a consistent mid-range, which is very doable, right? If you think of oh shit, maybe his phone died.
Just try calling right now and see if.
Oh, what happened there, Sam?
Yep. Nothing. I was on with you guys.
Oh, that's weird. We didn't try to anything.
Yeah.
Well, so just what I was saying about Delano was just like he had like that. Who am I thinking? Livingston. Sean Livingston. If he can develop that deadly mid-range game or a 3-point shot to go along with it, like maybe like. Because one thing about Sean Livingston, he had no 3-point shot. No. Like this guy did not shoot threes. No. But if Delano knows he's young enough to develop a 3-point shot, so if he can develop a consistent mid-range game and also maybe a less consistent but still sort of consistent 3, similar to like what Pascal does in terms of his 3-point shooting, like maybe 3 points shots a game, right? On maybe like 5 attempts maybe, which is fine. I think Delano, there's a place for him because he can get to the basket. We know Delano can get to the basket, right? Definitely. And if he can keep developing that game, I think he's very promising. So I'm just hesitant to let Delano go because I honestly, if I think and I've just heard how much you guys talk about him, I think he's got more upside than a guy like Malachi.
Oh yeah, he does. With Lonnie, because I definitely like Lonnie Walker, and especially on our team too, because like you said, he can be like a Gary Trent off the bench for us, and we keep Gary starting. But also Lonnie's been. I mean, I obviously like Delano Walker a lot. I like his potential, but he's been very inconsistent, and I don't know if I want to bring that off the bench right now. As much as our bench needs more scoring, we're trying to know we're gonna get energy from Chris. Kem's gonna come in and be solid. You know what I mean? Precious is still kind of back and forth, but Utah is gonna come and bring energy. With Lonnie, he's the type of guy you don't really know what you're gonna get. It still seems like a project, and I just don't really want that right now. So.
Just because we know what we have, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't really pull that trigger right now.
All right, this one is my favorite. It is going along with the theme of the no point guards and using like the wings and forwards to create. And this is a 3-team deal.
Ooh.
The Raptors leave the trade with Kyle Anderson. The Grizzlies get Kem Birch and Grant Williams, and Boston gets Malachi Flynn and a Memphis second-round pick. So basically the Raptors are trading Malachi Flynn and Kem Birch for Kyle Anderson And my thinking was Kyle Anderson can really play make. He's a very unique player, but if he was maybe on your bench unit as a guy that can come in and play make, run that unit, but also fill in with your starters and play off the ball.
Who are the Celtics getting again?
And he's... What's that?
Just Malachi?
Boston gets
Second
Malachi and a
round.
Memphis second rounder, yeah.
Okay.
And then Memphis gets Kem Birch because I think that's their one weakness. Maybe another backup big. And they get Grant Williams.
My legs.
So
Anyone watching
this
on
one
YouTube?
was my favorite.
Sorry,
What's that?
I'm stretching my legs. Like, oh, my knees.
Sorry, I would love Kyle Anderson on our team, to be honest with you.
I know I think he's such a Raptors type player.
Me too.
Without the athleticism, he doesn't have any athleticism. But
I don't know if the Celtics want Malachi Flynn.
well, they don't have a lot of any
They paid
promising
Pritchard.
young guard. Is he a point guard though? I think of him more like an off ball.
Really?
guy.
I think him and Malachi are relatively similar in play style.
Yeah, I
I
guess. I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean that's just picking hairs.
Splitting
is that a
hairs.
saying?
Splitting. I'm picking my hairs.
That's just picking hairs.
Yeah, I'm just picking hairs. It's busy.
Don't mind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Kyle Anderson on our team. And I think that's definitely a good haul for the Grizzlies. Grant Williams has been shooting the lights out of the ball, by the way.
Yeah, and I wouldn't trust that, but
No, me either. I don't think
he's
it's
a good.
consistent.
As a throw-in. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I really like Kyle Anderson because
And-
I think he's a playmaking forward, which we do need off the bench. So
Yep.
yeah, I think that'd be great for us.
All right, that's all I've got for you guys on this one.
All right. Well, are we ready
looking
to do
ahead here,
looking
or-
ahead?
Yeah.
So we got the
All right,
Pelicans game tonight, and
Yep.
that we'll talk about that next podcast. And then what else do we have coming up?
We have the Suns on Tuesday night in Toronto. That will be a bit. That's our first big test with
And
everyone healthy.
Assuming,
What is,
assuming no one sits on Phoenix
What is the roster looking like as of right now?
for Phoenix.
For Phoenix,
Everyone's
they've got
there.
everyone.
Well,
Yeah,
has
everyone's
Aiden's
out
hasn't
of-
been playing, or Crowder hasn't been playing. I think-
They both came back last game.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
well, let's
so
hope that they
they're-
face
want-
us with the full team.
Yeah, I want to see them. I want to play
Yeah.
them healthy.
That'll be an interesting test to see
I want to see them lose.
a Phoenix team that's kind of like guard oriented in terms of the offensive end, and like they're kind of opposite to the Raptors, right? They have two scoring guards and a
Right.
traditional big
I
man.
want to see CP versus Fred.
Ooh.
That's
Yeah,
a great
so-
matchup.
Yeah, and then the Pelicans game.
Especially 'cause
The
Chris is
Pelicans,
balling.
What you say?
yeah, the Pelicans don't
Sorry.
have like a ton of talent, but they have been like they're a team that comes in and like tries super hard every game. Like Willie Green, I think, has done a really good job with that. So and JV back in Toronto, so that's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. No fans though, unfortunately. But
Yeah, that's too bad.
Soon enough, though. Soon enough.
Yeah.
Soon enough.
Yeah,
all right.
that's all I've got, guys.
Alrighty, so I guess we'll head out. So before we wrap up the podcast today, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like us, comment on our video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcast, please make sure to leave us a rating and also leave us a review. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at RapChat Podcast, where we post new clips of the show every week. I'm your host, Luke Dick.
I'm Elias Eldridge.
And I'm Sam Kenny.
We'll see you guys on Thursday. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace. Oh.